Hi, I'm Kent with Casa Flora. Today we're here to talk about staghorns. These are the two staghorns that we produce at Casa Flora. We have the Dutch staghorn, which is Platycerum bifurcatum, and we have the French staghorn, which is Platycerum veitchii lemonii. It's not really from France, it's actually from Australia. Both of these are epiphytes. They grow on top of other things and use them for support. So the bifurcatum grows on trees. The veitchii actually grows on boulders in Australia. It's very interesting because both of them require much less water than you would think. This because it grows on trees, it gets rain in the tropics and the rains go away. It's high enough up on the tree that the conditions are very, very dry when it's not raining. So this has very good drainage. It gets wet, boom, it's gone, roots dry out. This grows on boulders and there's not a whole lot of soil in the boulders. It roots into areas of soil and pockets in the boulders. This can actually go for 4 or 5 months in Australia in full sun on boulders and is perfectly happy. It is truly a xerophyte. The amount of light it gets and the amount of water it gets determines what the shape of the shield fronds are. The drier and lighter it is, the more divided these shield fronds are. The wetter and dimmer it's grown in, the more entire the shield fronds are. Platycerum has two different frond forms. One is the shield frond or sterile frond that the plant uses to collect detritus to hold water and to supply nutrients, and the fertile fronds that have spore on the tips. This is an area where the spore is actually born. The sterile fronds or the shield fronds are actually used to collect moisture and detritus that rots. You can see how this actually forms a funnel that leaves, things like this would fall into, rain would collect there. You end up with layers and layers and layers of dead shield fronds which trap the water and hold it for an extended period of time. If you go over to the bifurcatum, you can see this even more, where the shield fronds have actually started to die and they just persist forever in layers and layers and layers, building up water holding capacity and that sort of thing. And here the fertile fronds actually have spore patches on them. The other interesting thing about the platycerums is that some of the platycerums actually will form plants on the roots or form plants all around the margins of the sterile fronds. And if you look down in this one, down on the bottom, you can see that there are two small plants coming up. Both of them are coming up from the sterile frond, the shield fronds, that are just starting to die, and an area of cells actually started to form new plants there. And so this actually would turn out to be a colony former. You would end up with more and more and more and more plants as the plant gets older and larger. This plant grows where it is more humid than this plant does. So we have less modifications on this plant for trapping moisture and reducing the amount of light that hits it. While this is covered with these little hairs that do retard evaporation and tend to conserve water in the plant, this does not need as much shade because it grows in areas that are naturally shady. Whereas this plant grows in very, very bright areas out in full sun. And as a result, it has quite a bit more hair on the epidermis of the fronds, which conserve water and also reflect quite a bit of the light that actually hits the plant. And as I said before, the amount of light determines how much surface area, how much leaf area you have on the sterile fronds. And as you get into water stress and you get into very, very high light, the surface area becomes very, very reduced so that the plant does not lose water through those areas.